Welcome back to Yoshi Entertainment, everybody. So I wanted to wait a few days until I had all of the information right, and I did some more research over this before I made the video that I was gonna make over this topic, this subject, this that happened just this past Father's Day. So as we all know, and according to the news media outlets, a woman by the name of Carlishia Hood, I hope I'm saying her name right, got into a verbal altercation with a guy named Jeremy Brown, and it escalated to the point where he put his hands on her, which there was no, I don't care what anybody says, excuse, justification, or reason for. As a result, her son came into the restaurant with a gun that she was licensed legally to carry and shot the man. She was arrested, if I'm not mistaken, and I believe they were going to try and charge her and her son, or at least I think it was just her son, if I'm not mistaken, with first degree, the M word. I don't know if I can say it on here because of YouTube and the algorithm, but you get the point. Now, from the very beginning of the situation to the very end, there have been so many mixed opinions and just words out there. Some things that I have seen on the internet that are absolutely appalling. So let's start from the beginning. Now, I don't know because, there was somebody who recorded a video. I didn't see the entire video because I don't like watching that kind of stuff. Although I did hear a audio version of the video of him hitting her, and it was disturbing, appalling. Although we don't know who started it, because like I said, they started off with a verbal altercation. I don't know who started it, but all I know is that video started with him basically telling her that if she didn't stop talking to him, he was going to knock her out, basically. Like I said before, I don't know who started it, but it really doesn't even matter. The fact that he would get to the point where he would result to putting his hands on a woman because of a verbal disagreement that the two of them were having, disgusting and disturbing. Nothing that comes out of somebody's mouth should make you want to put your hands on them, especially the way that he did. And from the few clips that I did see, and like I said, the audio version of the video, she didn't seem like she was all up in his face or going crazy like how he was. But anyways, people were taking this time, to bring up the reminder that unfortunately, in these days, in this time, in this society, with the kind of crazy people that are walking around with a lack of emotional intelligence and maturity to the point where they would go that crazy and off on somebody over some food or whatever, you can't even argue with some people because of how violent and fatal they can be towards you. You could even be in the right in an argument and just refuse simply to allow them to run over you or just talk to you like you crazy, because that's not something a decent human being should do to another decent human being. But because some people, like I said, have a lack of emotional maturity, respect, and because of their pride and their ego, and because they're really crazy in the head, they will argue you down and tell you to shut up even though they are in the wrong. And it's really sad that someone would do that to another person, have such a lack of empathy. And like I said before, you can't even argue with people, even when you're in the right, because you could lose your life, you could get beat up, anything could happen to you. And it's sad that our society, our community, that this world is even like that. But anyways, the woman texted her son, who brought the gun in that she had legally. He enters the fast food restaurant and sees this man attacking his mother, and he shoots the man. I don't know what y'all expected him to do. People have been saying that she told him to do this. But if somebody was beating up on your mama, some dude, some coward, what would you have done? I'm not saying shoot everybody. That's not what I'm saying. But tell me somebody who wouldn't defend their mother in that situation. And speaking of defending someone, there were multiple men, grown men, standing there watching this man yell at this woman, talk to her like she was crazy, put his hands on her, and they just stood there. They didn't do anything. As a matter of fact, I think they even tried to leave, allegedly, if I'm not mistaken, after he got physical. A lot of people were calling them cowards for not stepping up to that man who was getting all up in that woman's face and putting his hands on her. And the sad thing about that is anytime you call out men for not stepping up to another man who's being very aggressive to somebody weaker than them, smaller than them, a woman, a child, the immediate rebuttal that you usually get are the people who say, well, why didn't you do something since you want to say something about it? Or, oh, well, she wasn't my wife. She wasn't my daughter. I'm not screwing her. So why should I step up to him? which in my own opinion, is a very messed up way to think about it. I get it. You're putting yourself at risk whenever you step up to somebody. But still, those kinds of rebuttals, I only usually see coming out of black people's mouths. It's really sad and disturbing because whenever you see a white woman who is being harassed or bothered, white men will come out of the woodwork to protect her, to stand up for her, to have her back. But when you see our community, black people, this is the kind of stuff that happens. Rarely do I ever see an instance where people actually stand up for what's right, stand up for people who are being taken advantage of or disrespected, somebody picking on somebody or talking to somebody crazy, putting their hands on somebody who's real easy for them to put their hands on. But anyways, her son came in, like I said, saw all these individuals standing around not doing anything while his mother was being attacked. He did something. A lot of people didn't like what he did, but at least he did something compared to everybody else who was doing, like I said, absolutely nothing. And I saw a lot of really just absolutely disgusting comments like, well, maybe if she wouldn't have argued with him, or maybe if she just would have walked away, or maybe he just should have kept his hands to himself. Did anybody think of that? Maybe he just should have kept his hands to himself, been an actual man, and not put his hands on a woman. Another point people tried to argue was that she wasn't in life-threatening danger, so there was no reason for her son to shoot the guy. But again, if you saw the video or heard how hard he hit that woman, have y'all forgotten that people can literally get unalived if they get hit too hard, if they get punched too hard? People have literally punched people so hard that they are no longer living. So to say that she wasn't in fatal danger is very false. But anyways, kid shoots him. They both end up in legal trouble. She gets arrested. She's trying to figure out why in the world she gets beat up, then gets arrested. She didn't even do anything. If you really think about it, she didn't do anything except get beat up, disrespected, didn't get stood up for, except for by her own son. And then she gets arrested. She basically said that this incident negatively impacted her life to the point where she's not the same. And I can't blame her because of the whiplash of events, so to speak, that happened back to back to back. With the guy who attacked her, her son being the only person who would stand up for her and try to protect her, then her getting arrested for getting beat up, and then him getting arrested and them being almost charged for this guy, and then the charges being dropped, not to mention all the foul things people were saying about her and her son. And that was one thing that really bothered me about this entire situation. They went out of their absolute way, some of these people on the internet, to brand this woman just the worst person. I feel like they took one look at her because she was a single black mother, and they really tried to drag her for filth. They really tried to make this woman out to be the worst of every stereotype of a black woman and a single black mother that they possibly could. They really tried to make her seem like she was some ratchet ghetto woman that was out here popping off at the mouth and then wanted to just use a gun to resolve what she started. And then they tried to make her son out to be some gang-banging hood rat who just walks around with a gun. Come to find out, this woman is a whole business owner, and her son, allegedly, is on the honor roll. So it was just disgusting to me how people really tried to paint them as these horrible people who were completely in the wrong for what they did, but didn't have anything to say again about this dude who was putting his hands on this woman, like I said, who lacked emotional maturity, clearly, who was crazy in the head, had no respect. They didn't have a lot to say about him, but they had all the smoke for this woman and her kid. One more thing as I wrap this video up. I found out this on the internet, on YouTube actually. I just happened to stumble upon this information. This is not something that I just, found on my own. So apparently, Carlishia Hood, as you can see from her Facebook, because I took this straight from her Facebook, and it should still be up there, gave money to single black fathers for Father's Day. This is something that she did out of the kindness of her heart. And I'm assuming these are men that she knew, who she just wanted to draw some attention to, give some appreciation and celebration for Father's Day, because she admitted, and I want you to take the time to actually read this post. She admitted that, fathers, they don't always get the recognition that they deserve, that they don't get celebrated a lot of times like mothers do on Mother's Day, that a lot go unappreciated. And I'm not talking about men who donated sperm. I'm talking about men who actually were fathers, who played active roles, did what they were supposed to do, were godly figures, took care of, showed affection to, loved their kids. She was giving these guys some attention, some appreciation, gave these men money. And I didn't include the names in there because, for privacy reasons. But she gave these men, she cashed apped them money for Father's Day. She did this. So for all these people trying to make her seem like she was some black man hating woman, that she was just a stereotypical black, ratchet single mother. Again, they took one look at her and they tried to stereotype her into oblivion. But she had just done this literally hours, allegedly, before this man did this to her. And she went through all of this. I think that this made a very powerful statement that deserves attention drawn to it so that people can see that, contrary to what people may see in their everyday to-day life or on social media, because social media is real good at having everybody, especially black women and black men, at each other's throats. But this needs attention because it shows people that black women and black men, contrary, like I said, to popular belief and what social media would have us believe, we're not all at each other's throats. We're not all angry and hateful towards each other. And I honestly do feel like, because I think that she's a spiritual person. Like I said, I did go through her Facebook. And I honestly believe that this was an attempt from the devil. And you can say what you want to about me for saying this. I really don't care. If you want to be spiritually ignorant and stupid, that's completely up to you. But I honestly believe that this was an attempt from the devil to try and get back at her for the statement that she made. Because I do believe that there's a lot of spiritual negativity that is fueling, like I said, this whole stupid issue, gender war, if you will, between black men and black women. But I honestly think that this was something spiritual to get back at her for this statement that she made. Because I do believe it was a powerful statement, like I said. And for all of you who think that that's a stretch, again, it was a black man that did this. And I believe, like I said, it was an attempt to basically make her, not feel as strongly and as positively as she does in these ways, so to speak. Hopefully that makes sense. But that's not to downplay people just making bad decisions, like I said, or being emotionally immature, not having respect or empathy for their fellow human beings. That's also not to downplay people making unwise and stupid decisions of their own accord with their own free will. I've said it 1,000 times and I'll say it 1,000 more. Your actions have consequences. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Whether you deserve them or not, your consequences for what you do, for what you say, are yours to pay. And you will pay them. That's how it always has been. That's how it's always gonna be. People are gonna learn or they won't. I don't know. Anyways, y'all let me know what y'all think and how y'all feel down in the comments below respectfully. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Y'all have a blessed and safe day.